What's up? This is Steve DiGiorgio, bass player at Death DTA, and you're watching Agoraphobic News.
So you're one of the greatest metal mercenaries of all time, along with James Murphy, Gene Hoglan, Danny Lilker. Do you feel privileged about it?
Well, when you put those names in it, yeah, that's a great group of guys to be in for sure.
Yeah, so we're here 15 years after the death of Chuck Schuldiner, celebrating his life and death.
True.
So how do you feel about the whole concept of death to all?
Well, I've been involved in it for 4 years now, and obviously I stayed because I feel great about it. It's at first it was kind of weird, I didn't.
Yeah.
But because so many ex-members were involved, it was easy to start. And once we started, we saw how much people enjoyed it, and there's all this meaning to it. Like it's Chuck's music, it's dead. But if you move away all the meaning, it's really just musicians playing songs. All we do is live. We're not recording anything. We're not releasing anything. There's no albums. We're just a band playing music, and we're playing the songs that we played with Chuck. So that's what I mean. Strip away the meaning, and it's just us on stage and people watching it, and it's a great concert for both sides. We love to watch how much people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And they're obviously here. They buy the ticket and they come and they stay till the last song and they love it. So it's been great. I'm glad we're doing it. It's an honor for us to carry on.
How did you end up playing with Chuck back in the day? I mean, the first time you...
Yeah, Chuck found me. He had moved to California when he was young. He was trying...
I think.
Yeah.
He taught us
Yeah, he moved. Yeah. He met Chris, I think, in '86. And the band I was in, Sadus, we put out a demo tape that had a phone number. And we just got a call from a guy who said, I'm in a band called Death, we like your tape, let's go drink some beer. And that was it. So we met him, and I've been friends up until the day he died.
Yeah, and what is your favorite Death album? Is it Human, Individual, or maybe Control Denied?
My favorite one to listen to is Spiritual Healing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just the sound of it. I mean, I like something about each album, but if you're gonna ask me just straight like that, I'll just say Spiritual Healing was really cool.
That's surprising, kind of.
Yeah, because I know everybody would think it'd be something I played on or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think because I was with Chuck when he did the first album, and I was there when he got his first test pressing from the company, and so I felt I wasn't in the album, but I felt like I was part of it. I was playing in the band with him, and he left California, went back to Florida, and put out the second album. And to me, it didn't hit me right. Leprosy didn't at the time. I was like, eh. And then so when the next one came out, I bought it at the store and put it on my record player. I was like, yeah, cool.
Spiritual.
But second favorite, Individual Top Batters.
Definitely. It's my favorite.
Even if I didn't play on it, I love the songs. And Gene's a master.
Pretty melodic and tight as well.
A lot of harmonies.
Yeah, I like
Not so much before, and after that it was back to simple intervals, but Individual had these big 3-part harmonies.
Melodies.
Yeah.
So the bass lines of Human were recorded in one take. Was that the thing with Individual, or
No.
it was harder to execute all that stuff?
No, it's not the level of difficulty. It's just the procedure.
Yeah.
By the time we got to Individual Top Patterns, we were recording separately to just put focus on one instrument. With Human, it's not so much that it was recorded in one take, it was recorded live. Sometimes we did a few different takes, but when it was chosen which one, it was one take.
Yeah.
Of course, the bass and the guitar would go back and fix little mistakes. So none of it, except the drums are completely live. But the rest of us would go fix the little things that weren't perfect.
It's natural, I think.
No, it's totally natural. But by the next process, then we went one at a time. Like, and now it's not the recording process the way it's done nowadays. It's complete. I don't think anybody plays at the same time anymore. No two musicians in one
Because
recording ever.
all the Pro Tools or whatever.
All that shit. Those are the good old days.
Yeah.
Big giant tape only fit 15 minutes. Get it out of here. Or 30. You can
But
make
it
it to
was
30.
it's better because it's a live feel more into it than
Yeah, well,
with plastic production.
now you can start recording not so prepared. You can make a million mistakes and fix them as you go.
Yeah.
In the old days, you had to be very rehearsed. So it felt not. It wasn't the natural quality of the music. It was the fact that we came to record already ready to play everything. You know, we knew every little detail of the song because we rehearsed so much. Now people just learn it and they go straight to the studio and invent new things. So it has kind of a almost fit together feeling, where in the old days it fit together because, you know, we worked on it so much. So that's the big difference.
And the Human album was dedicated to the Roger Patterson, the bass player.
Was it?
Yeah. So I was Chuck influenced by atheist and cynic in a way that.
Well, he liked like high-level musicianship. He liked anybody who could, you know, master their instrument. I wasn't aware of Roger Patterson.
Yeah, you can see it.
Is it on the reissue or the original?
No.
The original?
He died in '91.
Yeah, I remember.
So
I met him one time while it was just before his death. I think it was down south, like in
he
Texas.
died in Louisiana.
Louisiana, right next to the. Yeah, so the time he left California to get there is the time in between. That sucks.
It sucks.
Because all our music friends would say, "Oh, you gotta meet Roger," and people were telling Roger about, you know, because he's east, he was saying I was west, and we were gonna be this bass player team. We met, like, oh, cool, get my photo, okay. We had plans to talk after the tour. But didn't make it. And it was, so long ago.
It's like Cliff. I mean, when Cliff died, the same thing.
In a car accident.
Yeah, bass legend died. You appeared on Symbolic demo, but you didn't play on the album. Why did Chuck decide not to have you?
We started it's called pre-production. It ends up being a demo, but it's like, it helps you write the songs and stuff. We did that not too much after the individual touring. But from that point, my family was starting.
Yeah.
You know, my wife, we were about to have a baby, and
That's nice.
she's a grown woman now. That's how long ago it was. But that's about it. Just hello. You gotta put that on mute when you start the interview.
My bad.
That's funny. But just our schedules didn't work out too good. Chuck was switching record companies, and he was going to Roadrunner, and he was very focused on, you know, a lot of hard work, and I was having my first kid. You know, now that I look back, it would have still worked, because you don't need to stop your life when a baby comes. You just need a little break.
Yeah,
Did you have kids?
No. I'm 23, so.
Yeah, but so it seemed pretty like it was a major event at the time, and it just didn't seem like I had the time to do it.
It's like Dave Lombardo, he left Slayer because he had a child and the band didn't want to reschedule the dates and whatever, so he left.
Yeah, and maybe also similar situation. Sometimes the band member, because Chuck didn't have kids, Gene didn't have kids, you know, and people that aren't going through the same situation don't understand. And maybe because obviously I came back right away. I started to work on the pre-production for Sound of Perseverance, so Chuck was a little bit, well, he didn't apologize, but there was that feeling like,
Yeah.
You know,
It's-
because we stayed friends. Yeah, we stayed friends. So, and by the time I came for Sound of Perseverance, I had 2 kids. So I told them, done, no more. So let's go.
Okay. And Fresh of the Titans gig was held to help both Chuck Schuldiner and
That was
Billy.
that benefit show was set up by a close friend of Chuck Billy, only for Chuck Billy. And it started as a small idea for a club. And when another band agreed, it got bigger, and each band that agreed, it got huge. And so Chuck Billy, I guess they estimated how much money it would bring in, and so he came to my house and he said, "Tell me about your friend Chuck," because they never met. And when I told him what he was going through, he says, "Well, I'm not positive what the final amount will be, but tell him after we pay expenses, I'll give him half of whatever it is."
That's
The unknown amount, but he says, whatever it is, I'm going to give him an equal share of what I get.
That's so humane. I mean,
Chuck Billy's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
You know why? He's got a big, giant heart. He's awesome.
and that event kind of was crucial for the thrash metal
It
revival.
reunited so many bands, right?
Testament. I mean,
Legacy. Well, they
played with.
We only took a break when Chuck, because I was in Testament at the time, and we just took a break for Chuck to go through chemo. But Violence, Death Angel, Sadus, Anthrax didn't break up, but there was another.
They were scheduled. I mean,
They all played, but they all reunited to play. And after the show, everybody stayed together. They're still together. Well, except maybe not Violence, but
because of Flint.
yeah, but they went a long time.
Okay, yeah.
They did Violence again for a long time, and it was that show turned out to be huge. Just from a small idea to
That was killer.
yeah.
Okay, and Control Denied, What If opening riff sounds like Dark Hole's Changing Weather. Was that intentional? I mean, it's slap.
Well,
Slap.
yeah. The drum. I was told to play. When I heard it, it was just drums, and then the band comes in after. And Chuck told me play something there with the drum. And when I heard Richard's pattern, that's the first thing that came to my mind. And I tried it, and the producer Jim turned and said, "Oh, perfect." And I said, it's not exactly, but it sounds close enough. And I said, it's very similar to something I did with my fusion band. And he says, "Well, is your fusion band bigger than Death?" And I said, "No, of course not. Nobody knows about it. We play local shows only." And he goes, "Just use it." I said, "Okay." I wrote it both, so I copied myself. It was just a coincidence. I didn't think it was so important because I could never get my fusion band noticed at all. It was hard work, and it was a coincidence. I was aware that it was very close bass line, but it didn't seem important. And it's funny that years later people notice it, which is cool to me. I don't feel embarrassed for taking my own bass line, but it's cool that people know that I had a fusion band. It's you know, it's.
And what's happening with Dark Hole? Are you about to have something released?
Yeah, we keep talking about writing something new, but I'm the primary composer.
now.
Yeah, and I'm so busy. So the Dark Hall guy, and when we did the band back in the 90s, we lived together, or same town. Now everybody lives an hour and a half drive from each other, so it's just harder, but we've stayed friends and we stay talking that we want to do something. I just have to find a drummer, because the drummer of Dark Hall is now sound engineer for Green Day. Which is cool, because when I get a drummer, he's going to record us. So I keep the original lineup together. We're going to stay a family. And maybe I'll write a brand new Dark Hall song with the same bass line. Rip myself off 3 times.
I can't wait to hear it. Okay, and
or maybe I'll take a Control Denied song and cover it in Dark Hall.
And what about the Control Denied? Is it about to have a new album or not? Because the guys were talking about it, and I mean, it was tough to do something without Chuck, but there is so many material.
And Chuck's last album is just sitting there, just doing nothing.
Mixed thing.
I haven't had an answer since 2002. I mean, our plan was to finish it. and there's not one answer that solves the riddle. There's a lot of things. Like back in those days, the equipment that the material's on was hidden from us. But then at the time that they cleared up the contract, the legal things, when they cleared it and opened the way to record, the machine was brought out for us, and then the data was corrupted. So then we didn't know what to do, so more years went by, and then they tried to extract the data in a binary way and translate it back to modern music, and it's been, what did you say, about 15 years? Well, Richard finished the drums in December of 2000, and then Chuck was working on guitar off and on in 2001. In fact, I was scheduled to come in May, I think, of 2001, and Chuck was doing well at the time, but he says, I'm starting to have a setback, and I'm going to go try a new medical procedure, so let's just change your trip to later in the year. And of course he got worse until but it's been since then since I really knew anything. I mean, everybody Richard has tried, Shannon has tried, Jim Morris has tried, me and Tim are waiting. We all stay in contact, but it just seems like it will never happen. There's so many it's not easy at all.
I understand the situation. It's
most of the problem is technical issues, most of it. But there's other issues, like before there was legal issues. Those are over now, but at that point it was a big deal. Now it's been so long, like 15 years, that we have to relearn the material, and it's probably the most, like the most crazy riffs. It's more like Symbolic Sound of Perseverance, more similar to that than Control the Night.
It's wide runs.
Yeah, because Chuck changed the riff style for the first album because he thought it needed room for the vocals, and then when he heard it finished, he says we could still play the same riffs and put so it was like Death was over and he changed for Control the Night, but then he looked back and said I'm going to combine it, and it sounds great, but it seems like it's impossible to finish it. I don't know. That's my opinion, my part of the band.
I asked the Control the Night guys in some interview.
I mean, everybody has their own answer for it, but I don't think anybody will say definitely, you know, because we're all sitting here going,
what?
And since it's been, like 15, 16 years, it seems like it won't.
Okay, is it true that Sadus and Sepultura were about to play in Belgrade in the 90s, but the show was cancelled because of the Civil War?
Yep. We were touring. No, it was Morbid Angel. Morbid Angel, Sadus, Unleashed. The tour started in May. Maybe it was June by the time we got here, but it was 1991.
I just started.
No, 91. And we got to what is the Slovenian border of Italy, and the guards. It was like, oh, it's military. Yeah. And they told us it's not a good time to come in.
I heard that Sacred Reich was playing, in the midst of the war.
Really?
Slovenia, because the Slovenians were in war for about 10 days, but they all boiled that to the point of war. So they caused the war, and they didn't fight. So
we got there, fortunately, just a little too late because they closed the border.
Yeah.
They were letting some people in, but for us, we were almost all American. 2 American bands and 1 Swedish band, and they just said, don't come in. And so we just turned around and went down to Italy, and we didn't get to go.
And believe me, that war killed metal in Serbia, on Balkans. Really, it killed it.
Yeah, my sister was here at the exact same time in '91. She was doing missionary for church, and she was their group was held at gunpoint, but since they were missionaries, they're not dangerous. So the soldiers showed them a secret road, and they got the hell out. And they said behind us. And then later, my cousin fought for U.S. Army in Kosovo, I think.
That sucks for us.
Yeah. So I heard a lot about it. I remember some details of it, but yeah, it was Morbid Angel Sadus, because that was in May or June of '91, but rewind to November, December of '90. That's when we toured with Sepultura, but it was in USA, Canada.
Okay, and how did you end up playing with Miloš Potočnin of Synesis Absorption?
I answered an email. No, he reached out to me and just said, I have a new project, are you interested in playing? And like when anybody asked that, I said, well, show me what it is.
Yeah.
And when he sent the music, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So, and it was one song. So it's not a big commitment, and I'm glad I did. He turned out to be a really cool guy, and I met Mike Smith way back in the early days, and we admired each other's playing, so we got to record together, even though we didn't see each other. But and then we did a second song. I think they made a video for the second song. Yeah, there's a video on YouTube. You should look at it.
Yeah.
And then he finished the third song, and maybe even a lot more. But it's my fault it's not out. I'm the last one.
Okay, a couple of questions for you. So Sadus demo Death to Posers. It's 1986 then. So how big was the genre antagonism between the glam scene and the thrash scene back in the day? Did you hate so much each other?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't want to murder. Death just meant, fucking stop. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It's like when we were young, we were influenced by the big bands, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden.
Probably Van Halen and stuff.
Yeah, everything of the day, to one degree or another. And then when the mid '80s came, it's like all those bands. I don't know if it was the record company or what, but they were all of a sudden all trying to get on MTV and get on the radio, and they had this new look, and then all the new hair bands came out, Poison and I don't know, Cinderella. It's kind of, I don't know the names, and it just seemed to us like,
what the fuck?
It was so strange. And so when our older friends showed us bands like Slayer, Accept, this new underground movement, and even though like Motley Crue and Slayer and Merciful Fate, they still used face paint, it didn't seem like the same thing.
It wasn't gay.
Perfectly said. It wasn't gay. So
they're kind of feminine. I mean,
yeah, but then there was a lot of bands like Metallica and Possessed and
Slayer had makeup.
Slayer had makeup for the early days, but right away they stopped doing it.
I know, but it's a story about Gene Hoggle. He said them.
Yeah, Gene's an old fan of Slayer from childhood. But once we found the underground and went and discovered a whole world under there, we felt like we belonged there. So then, having escaped this world that was trying to be so glam and stuff, that's what gave the motivation. Because we were aggressive music and we had aggressive lyrics, but we didn't want to get into anything to do with religion or politics or anything that offended someone, except for those
the glam kids.
The glam fags. We didn't care about offending them because we didn't like them. So that's where our aggression went, so that's how we got our start. It was, they would even put young thrash bands together with a glam band for local shows. They would mix them together. That's how long ago it was. So sometimes we had to play and we would walk in the dressing room with a beer or something, and this guy and we'd be like, fuck. It sucked. I'm glad it went away eventually. But that's what we were surrounded by in those days, especially being high school kids. We were in high school. So high school, you need, like Chuck made Death when he was in school, and his obsession was zombies, and you see Scream Bloody Gore.
Yeah, right.
So that's, when you're in school, you have to have that image and everything, and that was Sadus, so we wanted to kill all the posers.
Okay, and Sadus could have been a lot bigger if it wasn't for your numerous projects.
So Sadus would have been a lot bigger if we wrote music that people like to listen to.
Yeah.
Set the record straight. We have a really great following, but it's very small, like a cult following. We love those fans. They know everything about the band, but there's not enough of them to make Sadus really up in the level of, you know, the other Roadrunner and all the other Combat and Metal Blade bands and stuff.
And what is your favorite Sadus album?
Out for Blood, 2005. Well, it came out 2006.
I remember hearing it and I was like, wait, New Atheist is like latest Sadus album. I mean, it has that vibe.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's like pop music. Check it out.
I only know the Atheist album with Roger on it. I never listened to him.
That's Elements, Turks, and
That's the first one.
no Elements.
The new one.
Turks.
Oh, Sadus.
Yeah, and
Who are you talking about?
Atheist.
Okay, I don't know Atheist.
Okay.
What was the first one? It had the time or something?
Existence of Time.
Yeah.
And then Unquestionable Presence, and then Elements.
And then Elements, okay. Well, because Sadus' fourth album is called Elements of Anger.
Yeah, it's kind of experimental.
Yeah, well, we had took a long break, so
We wanted to do something new.
it felt like the band was over, and so when we wrote new stuff, it's like, let's just start over with a new sound, you know?
Yeah.
It was cool.
That rules.
That was fun.
Okay, and Testament is about to release a new album. Do you have any details?
Yeah, we finished one song completely. The idea was to release it as a single before the Slayer tour. So we finished the whole song. And it's a really good indication of what the album will sound like, I think. And they're still going to release it as a single, but it's the idea is, I think they're going to put it out in the summer now or something. It sounds great. It sounds exactly like Testament. Like there's no experimentation, no changes, but it's perfect.
Is it melodic or?
It's melodic, it's heavy,
10:45 showtime, guys.
brutal, it's got everything, you know. But with a band that's been around for 30 years, with a couple of guys in the band that are in their 50s, it's not time to experiment and change the sound. You want to stick to the formula. And they did that. It sounds exactly like Testament. But the good thing is Gene's involved from early stage, and so it has a lot of energy.